Chapter 1. Luck Talent, the Destined Lucky Star. 1. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. In the valley for Qi cultivation stage cultivators in Qinyan sect, Lu Yuan slowly woke up and smelled a mesmerizing fragrance in the air. It was intoxicating and made him dazed. Strange, when did my doghouse like home become so fragrant? There isn't a girl in my house either. Lu Yuan couldn't be blamed for overthinking. As a single man, it was already good enough for him to clean his room once a week, let alone make his room smell nice. When Lu Yuan completely woke up from his drowsiness and saw the surrounding environment, he was stunned on the spot. What was going on? What entered Lu Yuan's sight was an antique room with an exquisite wooden bed and a copper mirror with patterns carved on it. Combined with the tassels on the edge of the bed that looked like willow catkins, there was only one possibility, and that was that he was in an ancient room. And it was a woman's room. Sherlock Lu Yuan Holmes figured out part of the situation at first glance. Just as Lu Yuan was about to observe his surroundings to see if there was any other useful information, an unfamiliar string of memories suddenly entered his mind. When he finished absorbing these memories, Lu Yuan revealed a bitter smile. After all this, it turned out that he had transmigrated. The world he was in now was completely different from the blue planet he had lived in before. It was a legendary world of celestial cultivation. There was no technology here, nor the internet that was full of netizens. What they had was a cultivation civilization that had flourished to its peak. Cultivators, the devilish way, demons. This was a world where danger and opportunity coexisted. The original owner of the body he was currently in was also called Lu Yuan, a Qi cultivation stage disciple of the Qinyan sect. According to the original owner's memory, those in the Qi cultivation stage were the lowest level of disciples in the Qinyan sect. They were just slightly better than the servants without any cultivation. The body's original owner could be considered the most ungifted among the Qi cultivation stage disciples. The celestial cultivation talents in this world were based on the talent of a single spiritual root. This did not mean that one only had one spiritual root. Generally speaking, people who could cultivate had at least 5 spiritual roots of different elements. For one's talent to be based on a single spiritual root meant to check among one's spiritual roots for a particularly outstanding one. If the total of the 5-element spiritual roots was taken as 100 points and distributed according to proportion, those with superior talent would have a single spiritual root that exceeded 70 points, while the remaining 4 spiritual roots would share the remaining 30 points. Of course, some with extraordinary talents could have their overall spiritual root attributes exceed 100 points. The original owner of Lu Yuan's current body was a genius, whose overall spiritual root attribute far exceeded that of ordinary people. His overall spiritual root attribute had reached an astonishing 150 points, which was 1.5 times that of an ordinary person. Unfortunately, there was a problem with the allocation of his spiritual roots. That was because his spiritual root attributes were a balanced distribution. In other words, each spiritual root had 30 points. Such an attribute distribution of spiritual roots was even rarer than those with a single spiritual root that exceeded 90%, which were called heaven spiritual roots. To put it nicely, Lu Yuan was well balanced. All his attributes were balanced with no shortcomings. To put it bluntly, he was just mediocre, without any outstanding points. The requirement to join the Qinyan sect was to have a single spiritual root that had a talent of more than 30 points. With his talent, he just happened to step on the threshold to enter. Some of the geniuses in the sect had a single spiritual root that exceeded 90 points. In other words, 1 day of cultivation for those people was equivalent to 3 days of cultivation for him. This disadvantage would accompany him for life. It was also because of the quality of his spiritual roots that even though the body's original owner predecessor had cultivated for 10 years under the support of a large sect, his cultivation was only at level 5 of the Qi cultivation stage. He was still a long way to go before he could reach the foundation establishment stage, which was the requirement to become an official disciple of the Qinyan sect. The few geniuses who were in the same batch as Lu Yuan had already successfully reached the foundation establishment stage. Most of the remaining disciples were at level 6 or 7 of the Qi cultivation stage. Only Lu Yuan, who was at the bottom of the pack, was still at level 5 of the Qi cultivation stage. For the Qi cultivation stage disciples, the Qinyan sect would hold an assessment once every 10 years, and there would be a total of 3 assessments. If he failed to reach the foundation establishment stage after 3 assessments, Lu Yuan could only leave. In this world where demons and cultivators were everywhere, one could imagine the consequences of leaving alone. It would already be a blessing if he died of old age. Worst come to worst, he would even be captured by some demon girl one day, consumed as food if the other party was hungry, and kept as a human furnace if the other party was not hungry. Just thinking about it was miserable. If Lu Yuan did not want to leave, he would have to reach the foundation establishment stage within 2 assessment periods. At the thought of this, Lu Yuan felt his head ache even more. What was wrong with being well-balanced? How could they discriminate against the well-balanced? Didn't they know that being balanced was the way to go these days? Just as Lu Yuan was thinking about his future, a cold voice suddenly rang out in his mind. Ding! Skill interface activated. Name: Lu Yuan, Cultivation. Qi cultivation stage, level 5, spiritual root quality. 150, lifespan. 20 out of 100, luck talent. None, cultivation technique. Qinyan technique, Qi cultivation chapter, level 5, skills. Item manipulation, level 3, swordsmanship, level 2, fire manipulation, level 5, Luck. 50 points. Interface activated. You may choose a luck talent. Looking at the interface, Lu Yuan was stunned. This was because the design of this interface was very similar to the Tale of Immortal, celestial cultivation game he had played in his previous life. Not only was the interface similar, but even the setting where one could choose a luck talent at the beginning was exactly the same. However, since something as bizarre as transmigration could happen, it didn't seem that strange to have a cheat. Thinking of this, Lu Yuan started to look at the luck talents that he could choose. If he was right, he couldn't change his luck talent after making his choice. It could be said that there was no medicine for regret. Chapter 2. Luck Talent, The Destined Lucky Star. 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Currently available luck talents. 1. Innate Sword Fanatic. The efficiency of practicing sword cultivation techniques will be increased by 500%. 100 points will be added to the metal spiritual root attribute. 2. Wind and Thunder Dao Fetus. Able to awaken the wind and thunder spiritual roots. 100 points will be added to each of the wind and thunder spiritual root attributes. 3. Destined Lucky Star. Can freely control one's own luck and seize the luck of others. Looking at these 3 luck talents, Lu Yuan felt conflicted. The first luck talent, Innate Sword Fanatic, was obviously for sword cultivators. Sword cultivators were at the peak of the chain of disdain in the Qinyan sect. They were what people often referred to as superior. After all, it was really cool to kill an enemy with a sword strike and behead an enemy from 1,000 miles away. However, Lu Yuan gave up on this luck talent in the first minute. In Lu Yuan's eyes, the sword cultivator was a legendary profession with high combat abilities but low defense. The probability of him dying was too high. It was true that sword cultivators could kill enemies of a higher realm, but they could in turn also be killed by others of a lower realm. Between acting cool and preserving his life, Lu Yuan decisively chose the latter. Killing the enemy was nothing great, only by living would there be a future. Only the living could walk the path of celestial cultivation. Too risky. Just too risky. Being a sword cultivator was simply too risky. He would consider the next one. The second luck talent was Wind and Thunder Tao Fetus. This was a good luck talent. Not only could he awaken the Wind and Thunder spiritual roots, but he could also increase his Wind and Thunder spiritual root attributes by 100 points. If possible, Lu Yuan wanted to choose this luck talent. But unfortunately, he knew from the memories of the body's original owner that although the Qinyan sect had the divine abilities of these two spiritual roots, they had very few techniques that were compatible with them. Having the divine abilities but not the suitable cultivation techniques, wasn't this the same as learning a skill but not having enough mana? It would just be a decoration. Thinking of this, Lu Yuan looked at the third luck talent, the destined lucky star. The description of this luck talent was short, but it contained a lot of information. According to Lu Yuan's experience of playing the Tale of Immortal in his previous life, even though luck couldn't immediately increase one's combat power, it had many uses. If he didn't remember wrongly, in the Tale of Immortal game, regardless of whether it was the cultivation breakthrough or skill advancement, there was a called success rate. The role of luck was to increase this success rate. If Destined Lucky Star only had the function of increasing his luck, Lu Yuan might still be in a dilemma between choosing the Wind Thunder Tao Fetus and Destined Lucky Star. However, after seeing that Destined Lucky Star could even seize the luck of others, Lu Yuan suddenly felt that he had nothing to hesitate about. What was the scariest thing in the world? The scariest thing was naturally the occurrence of a low probability event. Even if the probability of something happening was only 1%, could one guarantee that it wouldn't happen to one? If the same thing were to happen to someone dozens or even hundreds of times, the called 1% would then be infinitely close to 100%. Without 100% confidence was the same as not having confidence. There was no difference between a 98% success rate and failure. Destined Lucky Star would give him the ability to freely control his luck and seize other people's luck. Without a doubt, it would help Lu Yuan eliminate all small probability events. For example, he could add luck to his breakthrough, allowing him to achieve a 100% success rate. Another example was that he could add his luck to pill refinement, allowing him to refine pills with a 100% success rate. There were many benefits. From this, the luck talent of Destined Lucky Star was simply the exclusive talent of those who developed with stability. And he, Lu Yuan, was such a person. So what if he was well balanced? He would have his fortune too. In the next second, Lu Yuan decisively chose the third luck talent, Destined Lucky Star. Luck talent. Destined Lucky Star, Effect 1. Destined. You can freely control your own luck and specify it on a certain matter. Effect 2. Lucky Star. When you suffer bad luck, you can absorb luck. Effect 3. Mixed Blessing. When you suffer misfortune many times, you can accumulate more luck, and a period of destined time has a small probability of occurring. Destined time. Within the specified time, your luck points will double. Note: fortune and misfortune come together. Whether it is a fortune or a misfortune, all is unknown. Unless it's a major opportunity, it won't consume luck. He looked at the description of Destined Lucky Star. Lu Yuan could still understand the first two effects, but not the last one. What did it mean by, when you suffer misfortune many times, you can accumulate more luck? So the system wanted him to be a dupe, huh? Was he, Lu Yuan, the kind of person who would suffer losses? Even if he starved to death or died outside today, he wouldn't be a dupe. If there were benefits, he could consider doing it though. Just as Lu Yuan was thinking about how to use the skill interface to reach the foundation establishment stage before the third sect assessment, he felt like he had forgotten something. Strange, what have I forgotten? At that moment, footsteps were heard from outside the door. In the next second, Lu Yuan's expression turned ugly. He finally remembered what he had forgotten. He seemed to be in the senior sister's room. The reason behind this wasn't complicated. The original owner of this body was limited by his talent and thus his cultivation had been slow to progress. Seeing that the next sect assessment was hopeless, he prepared to find another way. In Lu Yuan's opinion, the method the body's original owner chose was indeed crooked. To think the body's original owner had chosen to sell his body to a Foundation establishment stage senior sister who had taken a fancy to his appearance. To put it simply, the body's original owner had been thinking of living off a woman. If that were just the case, Lu Yuan wouldn't have been so nervous. The crux of the problem was that this senior sister had a fiancé. Furthermore, the senior sister's fiancé had also entered the Qingyun sect, and his cultivation had also reached the Foundation establishment stage. Although the senior sister didn't fancy her fiancé at all and wanted to find an opportunity to break off the engagement, unfortunately, the other people in the sect didn't think so. This was also why the senior sister had never been able to find an opportunity to make her intentions clear. Back to the main topic, the reason why Lu Yuan was the only one in the senior sister's room at this moment was that the senior sister's fiancé had come looking for her. While the senior sister went out to deal with the situation, she also told Lu Yuan to hide quickly. Lu Yuan had been thinking about the matters with the skill interface earlier and had totally forgotten about the situation for the time being. To be fair, who the hell would have thought that the first thing he had to do after transmigrating was to hide as a lover did? Even though he was speechless, Lu Yuan still immediately took action. After all, if he was discovered by that senior brother now, he would not be able to clear his name even if he jumped into the Yellow River. What did the original Lu Yuan's actions have to do with him, a transmigrator? To think he had to take the blame, damn it. Lu Yuan ridiculed the situation in his heart. As time was of the essence, Lu Yuan began to search for a place to hide. Under the bed. No, this place was too obvious. He would be easily found. In the cabinet. It still wouldn't work. That was a classic hiding place, and he would still be easily caught. The ceiling. It was still a no. What if that senior brother just happened to raise his head? As he was thinking, Lu Yuan suddenly saw the half-opened wooden window. If he remembered correctly, Foundation establishment stage disciples could choose a private residence. The senior sister's residence was located on the peak of a mountain. Outside the wooden window was an abyss, which meant that outside the window, there would definitely be no one. It should be a good hiding place, similar to the balcony where lovers often hid in stories. However, there was only a small landing point between the wooden window and the edge of the cliff. If he was not careful, he might fall into the abyss. But under the life and death crisis, he had no other choice. Lu Yuan jumped off the bed and out of the window, standing firm on the small piece of ground, his movements smooth and professional. Those who didn't know would think that he often did this kind of thing. However, in contrast to his elegant movements, Lu Yuan's face was very pale. He was only at the Qi cultivation stage and didn't know how to ride a flying sword yet. If he were to fall, he wouldn't even have a corpse left. A few seconds later, Lu Yuan started to regret his decision. Instead of choosing to hide in such a dangerous place, it would have been better to hide under the bed or in the cupboard. At the very least, these two hiding places would not be life-threatening. Forget it, I'll just go back. It's too dangerous here. Just as Lu Yuan was about to return to the room through the window again, the door was gently pushed open. Without any hesitation, Lu Yuan immediately stopped his actions, returning to the foot-sized rock landing. Not long after, a man and a woman appeared at the door. Fortunately, Lu Yuan's reactions had been fast. Otherwise, he would have been caught red-handed. Other transmigrators would have their fiancés come to break off their engagement, then start a touching story of working hard and becoming stronger, proving everyone wrong. In contrast, Lu Yuan had transmigrated and was forced to be a hiding lover, shivering in the cold wind on the cliff. He was also a transmigrator, so why was there such a huge difference? Chapter 3. Love is a ray of light. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Senior Brother Chen, I think I've already made my stance about the engagement very clear. Our engagement was an agreement between our families, not my own will. As such, I hope that you will stop bothering me in the future. F***ck, so ruthless. Lu Yuan, who was hiding on the cliff wall, heard the entire conversation in the room. Without a doubt, the person who was saying this should be the senior sister who offered to let him be a gigolo. The other person in front of her was the senior sister's unlucky fiancé. Although Lu Yuan really wanted to see what was going on inside, he was also clear about the consequences of doing so. If he was caught eavesdropping, that would just be courting death. Thus, he suppressed his curiosity to peek and tried not to make a sound. I'm a rock, I'm a rock. I'm not breathing, and I don't have a heartbeat. Under such self-hypnosis, Lu Yuan felt as if he had really turned into a stone. Although the two people in the room were celestial cultivators, they shouldn't notice a rock. Putting aside a certain someone's self-comfort, Yi Tingyu narrowed her eyes after looking around for a moment. After she confirmed that Lu Yuan had indeed hidden well, she turned to look at the man in front of her. This man was her fiancé in the mortal world, Chen Yan. In terms of appearance, Chen Yan's appearance was ordinary, and there was nothing special about his temperament. Compared to Lu Yuan's handsome appearance, the two were simply not on the same level. One look and one could tell that Chen Yan wasn't the type to live off a woman. Of course, Yi Tingyu was not a shallow person who only cared about looks. What really attracted her to Lu Yuan was not his looks, but something else. Otherwise, she, a dignified foundation establishment stage cultivator, wouldn't have been so nice to a Qi cultivation stage disciple. After hearing Yi Tingyu's words, Chen Yan, the most passionate person in Qinyan sect, immediately looked sad. Junior sister Yi, you've changed. You've become different from before. Hearing this, Yi Tingyu's lips curved up. Senior brother Chen, I'm not the only one who has changed. Haven't you changed as well? Chen Yan looked at his childhood sweetheart. His mouth opened and closed, but he held back whatever was on the tip of his tongue. Her appearance was the same, but her personality and way of doing things were completely different from when she was in the mortal world. Back in the mortal world, the other party had always called him Brother Chen. But now, not only was Yi Tingyu keeping a distance from him, but she also rarely contacted her family who was back in the mortal world. Chen Yan felt that Yi Tingyu was trying to express her attitude firmly. She was showing that in order to break off the engagement with him, she was even willing to cut off all ties with her family. The purpose of this was to avoid being coerced by the elders of the family. Thinking of this, Chen Yan's eyes became even dimmer as if they had lost their light. After a while, Chen Yan said in a hoarse voice, Junior sister Yi, could it be that you were just saying those words for fun back then? Do you really not have any feelings for me? Yi Tingyu sat on the edge of the bed with her arms crossed and the corners of her lips raised slightly. Senior brother Chen, the words of a child are not believable. I really don't have any feelings for you now. That includes sympathy. Wow. When Lu Yuan, who was by the window, heard this, he took in a sharp intake of cold air. Oh my God, such ruthless words. Sure enough, the natural enemy of childhood sweethearts these days was someone who suddenly appeared in their lives. As the someone who suddenly appeared, Lu Yuan had stolen their relationship. Even though Yi Tingyu had already said such harsh words, Chen Yan still didn't seem to want to give up. He pulled himself together and said firmly, Junior sister Yi, even though you've said so, I still won't give up. As long as the engagement is not called off, you are still my fiancé. I believe that time will prove everything. It will prove that I am the one most suitable for you. As soon as he finished speaking, Chen Yan turned around and prepared to leave. However, just as Chen Yan walked to the door, Yi Tingyu suddenly spoke, Senior brother Chen, the door is for guests, and you are clearly not my guest. Hearing this, Chen Yan's face froze. To think she didn't even let him leave through the door. Did this mean that he wasn't even a person in her eyes? If it was someone else, they might have already flown into a rage out of humiliation. However, if it was a bootlicker, the result would be completely different. Chen Yen looked at the charming woman who was sitting on the bed and hesitated for a moment before saying, "All right, then I won't leave through the door." Yi Tingyu's smile grew wider as she looked at Chen Yen, who had even abandoned his dignity. However, when a certain someone heard that Chen Yen wasn't going to leave through the door, he immediately panicked. Wait. If the senior brother didn't use the door, where else could he go? Could it be? Very quickly, Lu Yuan heard footsteps nearing from the window. It was obvious that someone was approaching. Danger. When he realized that Chen Yen was about to leave through the window, Lu Yuan hurriedly started to look for a place to hide. Unfortunately, there was no place to hide there. Chen Yen jumped out of the window and was about to fly on his sword when he seemed to have noticed something out of the corner of his eye and subconsciously turned his head to look. What entered his eyes was a pale, handsome man in a sleeping robe. The two of them looked at each other, and the situation was just awkward. Lu Yuan looked at Chen Yen, whose face had turned from ashen to dumbfounded. He smiled awkwardly but politely and said, "It's a long night, and I didn't feel like sleeping. I thought I was the only one who couldn't sleep, but it turns out that you can't sleep either, Senior Brother Chen." "Senior Brother, please don't misunderstand. I just think that this is a good place to admire the moon. But it's late at night, after all, so I'd better head in first." Chen Yen was speechless. Yi Tingyu was speechless too. As Lu Yuan moved towards the window, he pretended to be calm and said, "Take care, Senior Brother Chen. I won't be seeing you off." As soon as he finished speaking, under Chen Yan's dumbfounded gaze, Lu Yuan turned around and entered the room in one smooth motion. However, the moment Lu Yuan entered the room, a terrifying flame came from behind. Lu Yuan instantly felt an intense threat. Danger. The ball of fire was only 0.01 centimeters away from his throat, but after a quarter of a second, the fire could no longer threaten him, because he made a God-forbidden decision. Although Lu Yuan had made many decisions in his life, this decision was the most perfect one he had ever made. "Senior sister, save me. Chen Yen. Don't you dare kill a fellow disciple in my residence." Accompanied by a furious roar, the fierce flame finally stopped 0.01 centimeters in front of Lu Yuan and stayed outside the residence. Chen Yen stood in the flames, his expression gloomy. If not for the primordial yin aura he sensed from Yi Tingyu, Chen Yen might have already started a massacre by now. To meet another man in his fiancée's room who was in disheveled clothing, if he had arrived one step later, wouldn't these two have? The more he thought about it, the more furious Chen Yen became. But at this moment, the voices of other Foundation establishment stage disciples came from outside the residence. "Junior Brother Chen, why did you use your divine ability in Junior Sister Ye's residence?" Chen Yen turned his head and found that a few Foundation establishment stage disciples who were passing by had sensed the spiritual energy fluctuations and hurriedly flew over. Chen Yen hesitated for a moment and was reluctant to expose his embarrassing situation. Hence, he dispersed his divine ability and said with a calm expression, "Sorry for disturbing you, senior brothers. I was just having a friendly match with Junior Sister Yi." Although he said so, the other disciples looked at each other and felt that something was not right. The reason why they had come over was not simply because they had felt the fluctuation of spiritual energy, but because they had felt killing intent. The current situation was not as simple as a spar. However, they were well aware of the relationship between Chen Yen and Yi Tingyu, so it was not appropriate for them to interfere. Thus, the leading senior brother pondered for a moment and said, "Junior Brother Chen, please be considerate of your surroundings. The distance between this place and the main peaks hall is not that far away." Chen Yen immediately understood his senior brother's warning. If there was a conflict, he should settle it later. He shouldn't alert the elders on the main peak. Chen Yan looked at the senior brother and said very politely, "Don't worry, senior brother. I know." Seeing this, the disciples left after confirming that nothing would happen. After all, it was obvious that the couple was having a conflict. It was better for them not to get involved. Thank God these disciples did not enter Yi Tingyu's residence. Otherwise, they would definitely see Lu Yuan who was hiding behind Yi Tingyu. At that time, they would have understood what had happened. After the foundation establishment stage cultivators left, Chen Yan stopped his flying sword by the window. "Junior brother Lu, you're really my good junior brother," he said coldly, "we still have many days ahead of us." "Senior sister, he's threatening me." Chen Yan was speechless. At this point, Yi Tingyu decided to be clear and frank. "Chen Yan, this is my residence. I can invite whoever I want to. Aren't you being too nosy?" Chen Yan didn't reply. Instead, he stared at Lu Yuan with a gaze as if he wanted to skin the latter alive. It's over, it's all over. He was in big trouble now. Lu Yuan, who had been made the scapegoat for no reason, felt like crying. However, since things had come to this, he could only take this sudden incident seriously. While Chen Yan and Yi Tingyu were confronting each other, Lu Yuan looked at their interfaces. Name: Chen Yan, Cultivation. Foundation Establishment Stage, Level 3, Lifespan 30/250, Cultivation Technique. Qingyun Technique, Foundation Establishment Chapter, Luck Talent. Innate Flame Fetus, Skills. Sword Control Technique, Level 3, Incinerating Flame, Level 6, Dot. Luck. 800/1000. Name: Meng Ruyan, Cultivation. Foundation Establishment Stage, Level 5, Lifespan 26/350, Cultivation Technique. Qingyun Technique, Foundation Establishment Chapter, Demonic Desire Ice Heart Transcript, Foundation Establishment Chapter, Luck Talent. Demon Heart Jade Bone, Divine Ability. Enticement, Level 5, Furnace Technique, Level 5. Luck. 1651/2000. Seeing that the name on Yi Tingyu's panel was Meng Ruyan, Lu Yuan was dumbfounded. Not only that, Yi Tingyu's cultivation technique and divine abilities were not from a righteous sect just by judging from their names. Combined with what Chen Yan said about Yi Tingyu's change, Lu Yuan's heart was instantly filled with huge waves. Could it be that the senior sister was, in fact, a spy planted by the enemy forces? Could the reason behind the senior sister having her eyes on him be that she wanted to refine him into a furnace? The more Lu Yuan thought about it, the more he felt that his guess was credible. With this thought, Lu Yuan subconsciously took half a step back. Yi Tingyu, who had been confronting Chen Yan, subconsciously turned to look at Lu Yuan when she sensed the movement behind her. However, she didn't think too much about it, thinking that Lu Yuan was only frightened by Chen Yan. Therefore, she comforted him calmly, "Junior brother Lu, don't be afraid. With me around, Chen Yan can't hurt you." The corner of Lu Yuan's mouth twitched as he thought to himself, "Damn it, I'm not afraid of him. I'm afraid of you, you man-eating demoness." Chapter 4. Who is the sucker? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Yuan had thought that what he was facing now was just a celestial world version of lovers being caught red-handed. He hadn't expected to encounter a celestial world version of the infernal affairs. On the system interface, Yi Tingyu's real name was Meng Ruyan. It was suspicious at a glance. After all, which decent person would hide their real name? Combined with the divine abilities and cultivation techniques on Yi Tingyu's interface that were obviously not from the Qingyun sect, Lu Yuan could now boldly conclude that Meng Ruyan, who was disguised as Yi Tingyu, was a spy planted in the Qingyun sect by the enemy forces. After thinking it through, Lu Yuan was even more afraid. He had thought the senior sister was an understanding and warm-hearted big sister. He didn't expect her to be a demoness who was ruthless and greedy. Couldn't there be more trust between people? At present, he was first caught on the spot by senior brother Chen, a huge sucker who was ready to throw a fireball at him at any time. Then, there was senior sister Yi, who seemed to be protecting him, but in truth had bad intentions and clearly wanted to take his virginity. It was truly a desperate situation of being surrounded by hostile parties. At this moment, Lu Yuan understood that he had to make a decision as soon as possible. But in reality, he had no choice at all. Being used as a furnace and giving up his body didn't necessarily mean death, but if he were to be hit by a fireball right in his face. With his current weak body, he would definitely be dead. Lu Yuan had no choice but to admit that he could only cling to the demoness for now and live on. Only by being alive would he have a future. If his virginity was taken, then so be it. At most, he would just go back and mend his body. Therefore, Lu Yuan immediately retreated and hid behind Yitingyu, looking pitiful as if he was asking for protection. Seeing this, Chen Yen was even more displeased. To think his fiancée was protecting another man. No one could stand such a matter. Junior sister Yi, I'm a dignified foundation establishment stage cultivator. How can I not be comparable to this gigolo behind you? Damn it, to think he was belittling him. To Lu Yuan, Chen Yen was just some lowly bastard who only judged by appearances. Could the latter see the interesting soul hidden under his beautiful skin? No, senior brother Chen indeed couldn't see it. He could only see his good-looking skin. To think the other party still had the nerve to criticize him. Lu Yuan was simply enraged. Facing Chen Yen who belittled Lu Yuan, Yitingyu didn't refute but simply said with a faint smile, Senior brother Chen, since things have come to this, I have nothing to hide. Indeed, other than being good-looking and knowing his way with words, junior brother Lu doesn't have any other good points. In terms of family background and cultivation talent, junior brother Lu can't even think of comparing to you, senior brother. Lu Yuan silently raised the middle finger in his heart. Thank you, he felt quite offended. But it can't be helped. I am such a shallow person. Yitingyu turned around and hooked Lu Yuan's chin with her finger. Yitingyu was no longer as dignified as before. She was now exuding an alluring charm. Facing Yitingyu's teasing, Lu Yuan did not dare to move. He had no choice. His life was in the hands of this demoness. Chen Yen looked at his fiancée in name flirting with another man. Not only was his expression so dark that it seemed that rain would fall at any time, but even the veins on his face began to bulge. Although he wished with all his heart to turn Lu Yuan into ashes right now, he did not forget the price of killing the other disciples of the same sect. Moreover, with Yitingyu around, he could not hurt Lu Yuan at all. They were both foundation establishment stage cultivators, yet not only was Yitingyu's cultivation slightly above his, but even the divine abilities she cultivated were much more exquisite than his. If they really fought, it would be hard to say who would win. Doviko he couldn't beat her, nor could he scold her. Since that was the case, he could only take revenge in the future. Junior sister Yi, even if you can protect junior brother Lu for now, you can't protect him forever. Junior brother Lu, the world of cultivators. It's very dangerous. With that, Chen Yen left Yitingyu's cave abode with a stormy face. Chen Yen had already given up on pursuing Yitingyu. The only thought he had left was to make the two of them pay the price. Not only could Yitingyu see this, but Lu Yuan could also see it. To be targeted by a foundation establishment stage senior brother, Lu Yuan felt that he would be in big trouble in the future. Jesus! Why does all of them have to blame him, a transmigrator, for the things that the body's original owner had done? Every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. The one who became the senior sister's lover was the body's original owner, not him, a transmigrator. If they had any problems, they should go look for the body's original owner. Why were they after him instead? Unfortunately, no matter how much Lu Yuan tried to clear his name in his mind, he was still at the top of Chen Yan's revenge list. Fortunately, as long as he didn't reach the foundation establishment stage, Chen Yan wouldn't be able to attack him. If Chen Yan were to shed all pretenses of cordiality and attacked him now, the price the former would have to pay was something he could not bear. One should never doubt the strictness of the Qingyun sect in protecting its fellow disciples. However, in the same logic, once Lu Yuan's cultivation reached the foundation establishment realm, Chen Yan would have many reasons to make a move against him. With the enmity between the two of them, Lu Yuan was sure that the sucker Chen Yan would not let him off easily. Moreover, Chen Yan's hatred was only one of the problems that Lu Yuan was currently facing. He still had to face the fiend demoness, Yi Tingyu. The sucker had left, but the demoness had not. Chen Yan could fly away on his sword, but where could Lu Yuan go? More importantly, he couldn't fly yet. At the thought of this, Lu Yuan's expression turned even uglier. Just as Lu Yuan was trying to think of a way to break out of this situation, an alluring voice was heard. Yi Tingyu stretched her hand into Lu Yuan's open sleeping robe and said charmingly, "Junior brother Lu, don't be afraid. As long as I'm around, you won't be in danger." Yi Tingyu's fingertips touched Lu Yuan's skin. The cold touch made Lu Yuan take a step back subconsciously. Seeing this, Yi Tingyu's eyes flashed with confusion. The gaze she looked at Lu Yuan seemed to turn dark. Had the junior brother discovered something? Lu Yuan also noticed the change in Yi Tingyu's eyes. Oh no, he seemed to have exposed himself. If this demoness knew that he had already seen through her identity, there was no guarantee that the other party would not do something to silence him. Moreover, after killing him to silence him, she could even push all the blame on the sucker Chen Yan and keep herself out of it. When he thought of this, Lu Yuan suddenly had an idea. Senior sister, from the looks of it, senior brother Chen will definitely not let me off easily. If we really do allow something to go on between us, I won't be senior brother Chen's opponent at all with my weak cultivation if he comes looking for me. So, senior sister, about us. Why don't we just forget about it? Hearing this, the wariness in Yi Tingyu's eyes slowly disappeared. It seems that the junior brother hadn't discovered her identity, but was just frightened by that trash Chen Yan. Thinking of this, Yi Tingyu said in a teasing tone, "Junior brother Lu, do you still think that senior brother Chen will let you off the hook after things have come to this? Since ancient times, the hatred of one's wife being snatched has never been something that can be easily resolved. Even though our engagement was only decided by our parents, there is still a marriage contract between us. He's conceited and overbearing, after all, so I don't think he'll easily swallow this. That's why, junior brother Lu, you have to think this through. If you leave me, not only will you have to face senior brother Chen's deliberate obstructions in the future, but you will also have to face the revenge of a foundation establishment stage female cultivator who was rejected. Junior brother, can you bear the anger of two foundation establishment stage cultivators?" Lu Yuan was dumbfounded as he looked at Yi Tingyu, who had a faint smile on her face. Was she threatening him? She was definitely threatening him. What did she mean by facing the revenge of a rejected foundation establishment stage female cultivator? She should have just said it straight that if he, Lu Yuan, left today, she would take care of him. Indeed, once one lived long enough, one could witness many strange things. He had only heard of one forcefully trying to live off a woman, but had never heard of one being forced to live off a woman. He only wanted to rely on his hard work to achieve a career. Why did she have to force him like this? Although Lu Yuan wanted to have a backbone and reject this demoness, he had to admit that Yi Tingyu was right. Right now, he really had no way to deal with the anger of two foundation establishment stage cultivators at the same time. Choosing the lesser of two evils, Lu Yuan could only choose to yield in the end. Seeing that Lu Yuan was prepared to give in, Yi Tingyu's eyes lingered on his handsome face for a moment, then she licked her red lips and said, "Junior brother Lu, since the person in our way has left, then we can continue with what we were doing before." Lu Yuan's entire body trembled as he made his final resistance. Senior sister, why don't we do it another day? There's no time like the present. I think tonight is good. Wait a minute, I'm not ready yet. There's nothing to prepare. Just leave everything to me. A night passed. System notification. Due to the influence of the luck talent, demon heart jade bone, and the cultivation technique, demonic desire ice heart transcript, the host's spiritual root aptitude has temporarily decreased by 20 points. Looking at the system notification, Lu Yuan recalled what had happened last night and immediately felt that he was the sucker. As expected, the demoness was treating him as a furnace. If not for the body's original owner's presumptuousness, the sucker would have been Chen Yen. It could only be said that not everyone could live off a woman. Fortunately, the aptitude of his spiritual roots had only dropped temporarily, and not permanently. Otherwise, Lu Yuan would really cry to death on the spot. However, he wasn't the only one who suffered a loss last night. System notification. Luck talent, destined lucky star, has been activated. 50 points of luck value have been taken from the Foundation Establishment Stage Cultivator, Meng Ruyan. System notification. Luck talent, destined lucky star, has been activated. 20 points of luck value have been taken from the Foundation Establishment Stage Cultivator, Chen Yen. Accumulated disasters. 2. Current luck value. 120 points. After one night, Lu Yuan obtained a total of 70 points of luck value. His only loss was the temporary drop in his spiritual root cultivation aptitude. If he weighed his gains and losses, it seemed that he had profited. Thinking of this, Lu Yuan was speechless. His spiritual root was temporarily degraded, but he gained the rare luck value, so he didn't lose out. Yitingyu had temporarily lost her luck, but she had obtained the spiritual root aptitude she wanted, so she didn't lose out either. Only Chen Yen had not only lost his fiancée but also a portion of his luck value. His loss was huge. With such calculation, among the three, Chen Yen was the only sucker. Chapter 5. Skill Proficiency. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In this triangular relationship, Lu Yuan didn't suffer any losses and even gained something. However, Lu Yuan did not think that he could maintain his gains. Since Meng Ruyan had the courage to sneak into the Qinyan sect, she naturally had reasons for her confidence. Moreover, the other party couldn't have come to Qinyan sect for a vacation. She must have some other purpose. Lu Yuan had no idea what this purpose was, but this did not stop him from trying his best to escape from this demoness grasp. In just one night of cultivation, Lu Yuan's spiritual root aptitude had temporarily dropped by 20 points. God knows how weak he would be if they did it a few more times. Although his overall spiritual root aptitude was a full 150 points and the temporary loss of 20 points would not affect him much, Lu Yuan could not guarantee that every cultivation in the future would only result in a temporary drop in his spiritual root aptitude. If Meng Ruyan were to go all out and suck him dry, he would be nailed on the pillar of shame as a transmigrator, and become the first transmigrator to be sucked dry. Lu Yuan's thoughts were right. The reason why his spiritual roots aptitude was only temporarily lowered was that Meng Ruyan was not confident that she could stay out of the matter after sucking Lu Yuan dry. As such, she had been very restrained in the process. The main reason why Meng Ruyan had taken a fancy to Lu Yuan and not the Foundation Establishment Stage Cultivator Chen Yen was related to Lu Yuan's outstanding spiritual root aptitude. With a total spiritual root aptitude of 150 points, if not for the poor allocation, Lu Yuan would definitely be regarded as a great genius. As a dual cultivation technique, the demonic desire ice heart transcripts function was very simple. It allowed one to slowly absorb the other party's spiritual root aptitude through dual cultivation. It was one of the rare cultivation techniques that could change the quality of one's spiritual root aptitude. Of course, this cultivation technique was not without flaws. The first flaw was that although the demonic desire ice heart transcript could absorb the spiritual roots of a dual cultivation partner, the cultivator would develop feelings for the person he or she was cultivating due to the influence of the cultivation technique. Once the feelings accumulated to a certain extent, it was even possible that Meng Ruian would become completely obedient to the person she was cultivating with. In other words, she would turn from a high and mighty goddess to a lowly bootlicker. The best way to deal with this was to directly kill the other party after sucking them dry. This process was undoubtedly very painful for Meng Ruian. However, if she could complete all of this, not only would her spiritual root aptitude be greatly improved, but her Tao heart would also become firmer. The principle was very similar to the female mantis eating the male mantis in the insect world. The second flaw of this cultivation technique was that the cultivator could only absorb the spiritual root aptitude of those who were weaker than him or her. No matter which point it was, Lu Yuan was undoubtedly very fitting. With low cultivation and outstanding spiritual roots, he was the best partner for dual cultivation no matter how one looked at it. That was why Meng Ruian had gone to Lu Yuan and coerced him. As Meng Ruian's dual cultivation partner, no matter how Lu Yuan tried to please her, the result would be the same. This was because Meng Ruian would never allow her state of mind to be affected, which meant that she would never allow Lu Yuan to live. Once Lu Yuan lost his value, it was almost certain that he would be sucked dry. Although Lu Yuan didn't know this, it did not stop him from seeking self-preservation. After all, even though the demoness Meng Ruian was a good sex partner, Lu Yuan still valued his own life more. No matter how he looked at it, following a spy was a very dangerous thing. He had to find a way to get away from this demoness or even find a chance to expose her. The best way for Lu Yuan to get away from Meng Ruian was to reach the foundation establishment stage as soon as possible. As long as he reached the foundation establishment stage, not only would he be able to obtain a certain status in the sect, but he would also have the ability to protect himself. Perhaps in the future, he would be able to turn the tables and reverse his and Meng Ruian's position. When he thought of this, Lu Yuan immediately became excited. Demoness, just wait. One day, he would make her kneel and be conquered. At the thought of this, Lu Yuan forced himself to sit up with his aching back. Due to the sudden situation yesterday, he didn't have the time to look at his system in detail. Now that the sucker's senior brother Chen and the demoness Meng Ruian had left, he finally had the time to take a good look at his cheat. Name: Lu Yuan, Cultivation. Qi Cultivation Stage, Level 5, Spiritual Root Aptitude. 130, 150, Lifespan. 20 out of 100, Luck Talent. Destined Lucky Star, Cultivation Technique. Qingyun Technique, Level 5, Qi Cultivation Chapter, Skills. Item Manipulation, Level 3, Swordsmanship, Level 2, Fire Manipulation, Level 5, Luck. 120 points, EXP 0. Skill Proficiency, Qingyun Technique, Level 5, Qi Cultivation Chapter, .153/500, Item Manipulation, Level 3. 210 out of 300, Swordsmanship, Level 2. 93/200, Fire Manipulation, Level 5, .310/500. Other than the basic attribute interface, Lu Yuan's cheat allowed him to his skill proficiency interface as well. If he remembered correctly, the Tale of Immortal did not have the concept of EXP points. In other words, there was no such thing as killing monsters to level up, only the concept of proficiency. As long as a character's proficiency reached a certain level, his skills would improve. This principle was the same no matter if it was a cultivation technique or a divine ability. This was because both could be considered skills in the Tale of Immortal. Apart from that, when a skill reached level 10, an advancement option would appear. That was with the exception of cultivation technique type skills. For example, Lu Yuan currently had the Qingyun technique, Qi Cultivation Chapter. Only after obtaining the Qingyun technique, Foundation Establishment Chapter, could he continue cultivating. The divine ability. Type skills were different. Even if he didn't have the subsequent cultivation method, he could obtain new skills through advancement. In detail, other than the requirement of reaching 100% proficiency at level 10, there was also the problem of the success rate for advancement. Once the advancement failed, the proficiency would return to 0 at level 10, and one would have to repeat the process until the skill advancement was successful. If one could not find a suitable advancement method, then the skill would not be able to advance. This was the unique skill system of the Tale of Immortal. The problem before Lu Yuan now was how to reach the foundation establishment stage before the two sect assessments. In terms of divine ability. Type skills, it wasn't that important. Rather, due to the distribution of spiritual root aptitude, Lu Yuan's cultivation speed was slower than the others. If he could not think of a way to overcome this, it would be very difficult for him to reach the foundation establishment stage before the two sect assessments. Fortunately, Lu Yuan, or rather, the body's original owner, had already thought of a solution. On the bed was a Pharmacist Valley's disciple, waste token. With this waste token, Lu Yuan could enter the Pharmacist Valley of the Qingyun sect and become an outer disciple of the pill. Refining branch. There was no need to elaborate on the benefits of becoming a disciple of the Pharmacist Valley. The whole reason why the body's original owner was willing to live off Meng Ruyan was because of this waste token. Lu Yuan clutched the waste token, his feelings very complicated. Why did this scene look so much like the scene in a romance novel where an overbearing female CEO left a stack of cash on the bed the next day? He didn't expect that there would be a day when he would be forced to live off a demoness. How detestable. Although he wanted to be strong-willed and throw away the waste token, when he thought of everything he had done for this, Lu Yuan still, unyieldingly, picked up the waste token and left the room, heading in the direction of the Pharmacist Valley. The first step of celestial cultivation was to live off a woman. No, he had to start with pill refinement. Chapter 6. New skill, elementary pill refinement technique. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Pharmacist Valley of the Qingyun sect was one of the more important places in the sect. The most important places in the Qingyun sect included the Scripture Pavilion, the Alchemist Valley, the Pharmacist Valley, the Herb Fields, and Qingyun Peak. Other than that, there was also the Outer Sect Valley, the Deacon Hall, the Worship Hall, and so on. Before Lu Yuan lived off Meng Ruyan, he had been in the Outer Sect Valley of Qingyun sect. According to Qingyun sect's rules, disciples whose cultivation had not reached the foundation establishment stage were all Outer Sect disciples of the sect. Only after one's cultivation reached the foundation establishment stage could one become an official disciple of the sect. Based on the talent of the disciples, official disciples could be divided into direct disciples and ordinary disciples. Under the Outer Sect disciples were the handyman disciples, which were the lowest level of existence in the sect. Even though Lu Yuan's spiritual root aptitude wasn't good, it was not a problem for him to be an Outer Sect disciple. But even so, Outer Sect disciples could only be regarded as supernumerary personnel of the Qingyun sect, unable to enjoy too many of the sect's benefits. Only when one became an official disciple would they be considered someone truly from the Qingyun sect. Not only could official disciples receive a certain amount of cultivation resources every month, but they could also go to the Scripture Pavilion from time to time to choose cultivation techniques and divine abilities. Of course, choosing a cultivation method or divine ability required a certain amount of sect contribution points in exchange. Get it for free. Knowledge is priceless. There were many ways to earn contribution points. The simplest method was naturally to complete the various missions assigned by the sect. The sect missions could be roughly divided into combat missions, intelligence missions, collection missions, and logistics missions. Even though the rewards for combat missions were rich, they were very dangerous, followed by intelligence missions and collection missions. The logistics missions were more interesting. If one had the abilities, these missions could be said to be the safest and most rewarding. For example, the disciples in the Pharmacist Valley where Lu Yuan was heading took on many of these logistics missions. As long as the disciples of Pharmacist Valley made qualified pills regularly, not only would they not need to go out and risk their lives, but they could even gain a large number of contribution points and sect resources. This was the special treatment that Qingyun's sect gave to skilled pharmacists. The original owner of Lu Yuan's current body wanted to become such a talent. This was because as long as one became a pharmacist, even if one's cultivation did not reach the foundation establishment stage, one could also stay in the Qingyun sect and have a status that was equal to that of an official disciple. Therefore, it was always said that as long as one mastered a skill, one would be able to survive well in any world. Lu Yuan came to the entrance of the hall of Qingyun sect's Pharmacist Valley and looked at the Qingyun disciples that were bustling with activity. He was shocked. Inside the hall, all the pill furnaces were at full power, raising the temperature in the hall to a shocking degree. Just by standing at the entrance of the main hall, one could feel the waves of hot air that were blowing in their faces. The scene of hundreds of burning pill furnaces at the same time was really cool. Who are you? What are you doing here? Just as Lu Yuan was shocked by the grand scene before him, a voice suddenly rang in his ears. Lu Yuan turned his head and saw a man wearing the Pharmacist Valley's exclusive uniform walking up to him. Senior brother, I'm an outer sect disciple who was just assigned to the Pharmacist Valley. This is my identity card. Lu Yuan took out the waste token from his storage bag and passed it to the senior brother. The other party's expression eased a little after seeing the waste token. Alright, then come with me. Yes. Under the other party's lead, Lu Yuan soon arrived at the lobby of the pill hall, which was where the hundreds of furnaces were. As they walked, the senior brother from the Pharmacist Valley said, to be able to obtain a waste token, your fire and wood spiritual roots should have quite good aptitudes. Indeed, he was a well-balanced person. He knew a little of everything. However, I'll tell you bluntly that in the path of pill refinement, although the innate spiritual root is crucial, it doesn't mean that one can become a pharmacist just because one's innate spiritual root aptitude is good. Hard work and talent in pill refinement are equally important. The senior brother stopped in front of an empty pill furnace. Alright, this will be the place where you will refine pills in the future. As someone who has just arrived at the Pharmacist Valley, you can only be considered an apprentice now. When you are able to refine foundation establishment stage pills on your own, then you will be considered an official disciple here. Before that, your daily task is to make some elementary qi cultivation stage pills. Don't think it's easy. If you can't make a qualified qi cultivation stage pill within the time limit, then you'll have to leave the Pharmacist Valley after a year and go back to where you came from. Do you understand? Understood. The senior brother from the Pharmacist Valley nodded and continued, that's all with the rules. Now, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do in the future. From today onwards, the Valley of Pills will give you 10 portions of the ingredients for the elementary cultivation pill every day. If you can produce a certain amount of elementary cultivation pills within a year, you can become an outer disciple of the Pharmacist Valley. Later on, when you can make foundation establishment stage pills on your own, you can become an official disciple of the Pharmacist Valley. With that, you'll enjoy the same benefits as the official disciples of other peaks, as well as the various benefits of the sect. Alright, that's about all I have to say. The pill recipe is right beside the pill furnace. You can take a look at it later. If there's anything you don't understand, you can ask the senior brother next to you. This will help you master the secrets of pill refinement faster. After saying this, the other party left. After the senior brother left, Lu Yuan walked to the pill furnace that was assigned to him and picked up the pill recipe that was placed there. Pill recipe. Elementary cultivation pill, level. Qi cultivation stage, effect. Fortifies the foundation. Able to increase the user's spiritual energy absorption speed for a certain period. The refining method for the elementary cultivation pill was not complicated. It was obviously a pill recipe for beginners. To make the elementary cultivation pill, 2 conditions had to be met. First, one's fire and wood spiritual root aptitude must reach at least 30 points each. Second, one had to master both item manipulation and fire manipulation. It was obvious that the body's original owner had learned about this in advance, so he had specially learned item manipulation and fire manipulation. Although he had already met the conditions to refine the pill, Lu Yuan was not in a hurry to start. Instead, he walked and stood behind a senior brother who was refining the elementary cultivation pill and began to observe seriously. The other party was currently concentrating on refining the elementary cultivation pill and did not notice Lu Yuan's arrival. Lu Yuan watched very seriously, concentrating on memorizing the entire refining process and the things to take note of. Boom! Following the sound of an explosion, the senior brother's pill refinement failed due to his failure in controlling the fire which caused his pill furnace to explode. While the other party was feeling vexed, Lu Yuan left quietly. This was to prevent the other party from attributing his failure to his interference. There was no doubt that those who loved to find scapegoats in this world were more than one could imagine. Following that, Lu Yuan began to stand quietly behind various senior brothers, concentrating in studying from them. After 2 hours. Ding! You have observed the process of making the elementary cultivation pill and obtained a new skill, the elementary pill refinement technique. Elementary pill refinement technique, level 1. 0 out of 100, finally, a new skill. Looking at the elementary pill refinement technique on the interface, Lu Yuan was in a good mood. His entire morning of observing the pill refining process had not been in vain. With this new skill, Lu Yuan was ready to start his pill refinement. As long as he could master the pill refinement technique, he could become an official disciple of the Pharmacist Valley. Then, not only would he have a chance to break through to the foundation establishment stage in a short time, but he might even be able to get rid of that demoness Meng Ruyan. At the thought of this, Lu Yuan returned to his furnace and prepared to refine pills. Chapter 7. Probability-based pill refinement technique. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Even though he already had the elementary pill refinement technique, Lu Yuan didn't think that he could already successfully refine the elementary cultivation pill by himself. Previously, when he observed the pill refining process of his senior brothers, Lu Yuan realized that it was not as easy as he had imagined. After all, the existence of the proficiency interface only allowed Lu Yuan to have a visual standard for his current skills. For example, when a person without a proficiency interface learned a skill, it was like moving forward in the dark. He wouldn't know if the direction he was heading in was correct, nor would he know how far he was from the finish line. Lu Yuan, who had the proficiency interface, was like holding a flashlight and a map as he advanced. Not only did he have a clear direction, but he also knew how far he was from the finish line. These two uses were not to be underestimated. As the old saying went, the closer one was to success, the more difficult the matter would become, and the more carefully one had to approach the matter. If those people who stopped knew that they would reach the finish line in 10 more steps, would they continue? There was a huge difference between seeing hope and not seeing hope. And the current Lu Yuan was filled with hope for his future. After finishing his preparation work, Lu Yuan began his first pill refinement. The first step of pill refinement was to start a fire. Using fire manipulation, Lu Yuan began to control the temperature of the flames in the pill furnace. As his fire manipulation was only at level 5, his control of fire was not perfect. And because of his cultivation, he could only control qi cultivation stage flames in the pill furnace. Even though such a temperature could only be used to refine qi cultivation stage pills, it was enough to make the elementary cultivation pill. However, just as Lu Yuan was about to start the second step of the pill refinement, refining the medicinal ingredients, he suddenly stopped. This was because a delicate system interface had suddenly appeared in front of him. Elementary cultivation pill, flame temperature. 70%, degree of refinement. 0%, degree of fusion. 0%, luck value. 0, plus, current success rate. 17.5%. Looking at this interface, Lu Yuan recalled the pill.refining process back when he played the Tale of Immortal. At that time, the same interface would appear when he refined pills. If Lu Yuan's guess was right, as long as the success rate of each step was raised to 100%, his ultimate success rate of refining the elementary cultivation pill would increase by a lot. Other than that, Lu Yuan also noticed an luck value option at the end of the interface, as well as a plus sign behind the option. If his thoughts were right, the plus sign should be related to his luck talent, Destined Lucky Star. After all, one of the effects of Destined Lucky Star was that he could freely distribute his luck. It was clear that he could add his luck to the pill refinement this time. Without any hesitation, Lu Yuan started to tap the plus sign. When the luck value on the pill refinement interface reached 100 points, he realized that he could not distribute any more luck. Only then did Lu Yuan stop. As his luck value changed, the success rate of Lu Yuan's pill refinement also changed. Current success rate. 42.5%. Seeing that his success rate had increased to 40%, Lu Yuan was instantly excited. Following this, he began to adjust the temperature of the fire in the pill furnace, trying to increase the success rate of the pill refinement. Unfortunately, after Lu Yuan busied himself for an hour, the completion rate of the flame's temperature only reached 75%. He was unable to go any further. Lu Yuan analyzed the reason. The main reason why he was unable to increase the completion rate of his flame's temperature was that the level of his fire manipulation was not high enough. Level 5 fire manipulation could only make the completion rate of the flame's temperature stay at 75% at most. If he wanted to increase it further, he could only practice fire manipulation more to improve his proficiency in the skill. Seeing that he could no longer increase the flame's temperature, Lu Yuan began the next step of his operation. Just like before, the second step of pill refinement, which was medicinal ingredient refining, also had a completion rate. The only difference was that the temperature of the flame could be adjusted throughout the process, but multiple adjustments couldn't be made during the medicinal ingredient refinement process. This was because the essence of medicinal ingredient refinement was to extract the essence of the medicinal ingredient, which was an irreversible process. After all, the medicinal ingredients would have been burnt to a crisp by the pill refinement fire at the end of the process. Unless one had the ability to turn back time, the results of the refinement would stay as what one had obtained. In the end, Lu Yuan's refinement completion rate only reached a pitiful 20%. In other words, after Lu Yuan's series of operations on his medicinal ingredients, only 20% of the medicinal essence was left. Furthermore, he also discovered that he had to constantly adjust the flame's temperature during the refining process. If the temperature did not reach a suitable standard, the completion rate of the flame's temperature would also drop. After the refinement of the medicinal ingredients was completed, the temperature of Lu Yuan's flames dropped from the initial 75% to 65%, hence further lowering the overall success rate of the pill refinement. However, at this point, other than continuing, Lu Yuan had no other means to salvage the situation. After slightly adjusting his state of mind, Lu Yuan began the last step of refining the elementary cultivation pill, fusion, which was also the so-called pill condensation. Just as Lu Yuan was fully focused on refining the elementary cultivation pill, an old man in the pill refinement technique hall seemed to have noticed his pill refinement methods and walked over curiously. At this moment, Lu Yuan was focused on refining pills. Therefore, he did not notice the old man behind him. Lu Yuan used fire manipulation to control the temperature of the flames in the pill furnace while looking at the system interface at the side. Every time the flame's temperature dropped, he would immediately adjust the flame's temperature to maintain it at a decent level. Similarly, Lu Yuan paid attention to the fusion aspect. The key to fusion was to let the essence of the various medicinal ingredients perfectly fuse. The timing of the fusion, the temperature of the flame during the fusion, the proportion of the fusion. All of these would affect the success of the fusion process. This step was the most difficult of all. This was because while Lu Yuan was using item manipulation to control the medicinal herb essences to fuse, he also had to split his attention controlling the flame's temperature. He had to multitask. This made him mentally and physically exhausted in a short time. He was sweating profusely. Damn it, to think refining pills was so difficult. Lu Yuan grumbled in his heart as he gritted his teeth and persevered. He worked hard to maintain the overall success rate of this pill refinement at above 50%. In the end, after a series of hard work, the liquid medicinal essence in the pill furnace gradually fused and condensed into a cultivation pill. At this point, Lu Yuan had already done everything he could. The remaining was all up to luck. This was because at this point whether the pill could be formed or not depended on the fusion of the medicinal theories inside the embryo pill. Outsiders could not interfere. This was the same for any pharmacist. There was a saying that the success of pill refinement was 80% human effort and 20% fate. The 20% of fate was the final waiting process. Although Lu Yuan's pill refinement process this time had many mistakes, he was still very satisfied with his first attempt on the whole. Lu Yuan looked at the 10 embryo pills that were condensing and cooling in the pill furnace, waiting nervously. Elementary cultivation pill, flame temperature. 60%, degree of refinement. 20%, degree of fusion. 30%, luck value. 100, plus, current success rate. 52.5%, after a while, the 10 embryo pills finally lost the fiery red on their surface and emitted some luster. Success. With an excited heart, Lu Yuan used item manipulation to control the 10 embryo pills to fly out of the pill furnace. When the 10 embryo pills landed in the wooden box in Lu Yuan's hands, the surface of the 5 pills began to crack for some unknown reason before turning into powder. At the same time, cracks appeared on the surface of 2 embryo pills, but they still maintained the appearance of medicinal pills and could thus be considered semi-finished products. In the end, only 3 of the 10 embryo pills maintained their round and plump appearance. Although only 3 pills were successful, Lu Yuan could not hide the excitement in his heart. He clearly remembered the requirements in the manual for one to become the pharmacist Valley's outer disciple. He had to refine more than 5 elementary cultivation pills all at once. In other words, this was his first time refining pills, and he was almost at the standard of passing. Looking at the 3 elementary cultivation pills in the wooden box, Lu Yuan was quite delighted. Not bad, not bad. He was very satisfied with the results of his first attempt. Other than these 3 completed pills, Lu Yuan had gained quite a lot from this round of pill refinement. You have been seriously controlling fire. Fire manipulation proficiency +3. You have performed item manipulation seriously. Item manipulation proficiency +5. You have refined a pill seriously. Pill refinement technique proficiency +10. A series of system notifications appeared in Lu Yuan's system interface. This information appeared during the process of his pill refinement. Item manipulation, level 3. 260/300, fire manipulation, level 5. 370/500, pill refinement technique, level 1. 20 out of 100, overall, Lu Yuan obtained 50 points of proficiency for item manipulation, 60 points for fire manipulation, and 20 points for pill refinement technique from this round of refining. If he could keep this up, it wouldn't be long before he could cultivate these skills to the maximum level of 10. At that time, he should be able to trigger the advanced effect of the skill. Such growth that could be seen with the naked eye immediately filled Lu Yuan with a sense of achievement. Who didn't want to see a visible reward for every effort they put in? As for his special pill refinement method that relied on the system, Lu Yuan called it probability-based pill refinement. He was referring to the fact that he could see the success rate of pill refinement. With the probability-based pill refinement technique, Lu Yuan felt that the days when he could get rid of the demoness Meng Ruian were just around the corner. Just wait, he would prove to that demoness one day that he was not the type to live off a woman. He, Celestial Master Lu, was very talented. Chapter 8. Strength Improvement. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. In the hall of the Pharmacy Valley, although Lu Yuan had succeeded in his first attempt at refining the elementary cultivation pill, he did not become arrogant because of this. Instead, he began to seriously analyze his previous pill refining process to see if any areas could be improved. This indeed allowed him to gain a lot. You've seriously reflected on your pill refinement process. Pill Refinement Technique Proficiency plus 15, Pill Refinement Technique, Level 1. 35 out of 100. After concluding, Lu Yuan felt that a huge part of why his pill refinement this time had been successful was thanks to luck. If he hadn't used his luck talent, Destined Lucky Star, to distribute a large amount of his luck to pill refinement, there was a high chance that he would fail this time. 100 points of luck would increase the success rate by 25%. If this 25% was removed, it would be considered good if Lu Yuan's batch of elementary cultivation pills could even produce one finished product. That being said, luck was also a part of one's strength, and Lu Yuan was the kind of person who could control his luck. After concluding his pill refinement process, Lu Yuan started his daily cultivation as he had no more medicinal herbs and his spiritual energy was a little exhausted. You have been cultivating seriously. Qingyun Technique, Qi Cultivation Chapter, Proficiency plus 3, you have been cultivating seriously. Qingyun Technique, Qi Cultivation Chapter, Proficiency plus 5. Just as Lu Yuan was concentrating on his cultivation, the old man who had been standing behind him quietly left. Not long after, the old man returned to the back of the pill hall. There was a Foundation Establishment Stage official disciple of the Pharmacy Valley here. He was responsible for recording the progress of the pill. Refining apprentices outside. They would try their best to ensure fairness and justice and not miss out on any talents. What was the most precious thing in the celestial cultivation world? Talents, of course. It was also because Qingyun's sect had such a complete talent. Nurturing system that placed great importance on the nurturing of talents that the sect had more pharmacists than other sections. Just as the official disciple was recording the pill. Refining information of the individual disciples, the old man came over and said, "Chen Yangan, show me the kid's pill refinement records. I want to know when he started to learn pill refinement." Chen Yangan raised his head. When he saw the old man's face, he hurriedly stood up and said respectfully, "Yes, Elder Han." Following that, Chen Yangan looked in the direction that Elder Han was pointing at and saw Lu Yuan cultivating with his eyes closed. Chen Yangan wrote down the number of the pill furnace in front of Lu Yuan and began to search for his records on the roster. Very quickly, Chen Yangan realized that Lu Yuan was the Pharmacist Valley's newbie who was on his first day here. Elder Han, that disciple's name is Lu Yuan. He was transferred from the outer sect today. Today, huh? Han Yuanshan stroked his beard and narrowed his eyes. From his expression, it was obvious that he was interested in Lu Yuan. To be able to successfully refine elementary cultivation pills on his first day here, this kid was quite interesting. In fact, the reason why he had observed Lu Yuan's pill refinement was that he realized that the latter seemed to have a very sharp intuition when it came to pill refinement. He was often able to immediately correct any problems he encountered. If not for the fact that Lu Yuan had made many low-level mistakes in the entire process of pill refinement, Han Yuanshan even suspected that the kid had experienced pill refinement since back in the mortal world. Now that he knew that this was indeed Lu Yuan's first day at pill refinement, Han Yuanshan was even more interested in the latter. From his point of view, if there was anyone in the hall who could become a pharmacist in the end, Lu Yuan would definitely be the one with the most hope. Not everyone had such a keen pill. Refining intuition. From now on, give him 10 more sets of medicinal herbs for the elementary cultivation pill every day. If he asks, just say that it's a test for him. Han Yuanshan turned around and said, if he can successfully refine a Foundation Establishment Stage pill within a year, I'll take him in as the Pharmacist Valley's direct disciple. Yes, sir. After the core formation stage elder Han Yuanshan left, the official disciple looked at Lu Yuan, who was still cultivating, with envy and remembered his face in his heart. To be valued so highly by a core formation stage elder, junior brother Lu's future was limitless. In the hall of the Pharmacy Valley, Lu Yuan had no idea that he had already become someone with a bright future in someone else's heart. He looked at the already dark sky outside, and after a moment of hesitation, he gave up on the idea of going back. He thought, go home. Can a place with that demoness be called home? That was a devil's den that ate people whole. He refused to go home. He would never go back no matter what. It had to be said that Lu Yuan felt that he was now well-fledged and had the capital to fight against Meng Ruiyan. He believed that as long as he stayed in the Pharmacist Valley and relied on its special status in the Qinyan sect, he would be fine. Even if Meng Ruiyan, the Foundation establishment stage demoness, wanted to find trouble with him, it would not be an easy task. When an adult man didn't want to go home after work, it meant that he had matured. Lu Yuan felt that he was a mature man now. Thus, in the following month, Lu Yuan simply stayed in the hall of the Pharmacy Valley. Other than getting the occasional Anidia pill and other necessary resources, he never left the main hall. He was extremely hard-working. Since the second day after he arrived at the Pharmacy Valley, the number of medicinal ingredient sets that Lu Yuan could have to refine the elementary cultivation pill had increased from 10 to 20. He also found out that a core formation stage elder named Han Yuanshan had taken a fancy to his pill refining talent. This made Lu Yuan very excited. As long as he could meet Han Yuanshan's requirements within a year, he would be able to become the latter's direct disciple. A direct disciple. Not just an ordinary official disciple. If he could become a direct disciple, not only would he be able to obtain more cultivation resources, but his status would also surpass that demoness Meng Ruiyan. At that time, he would no longer have to worry about being sucked dry or killed by Meng Ruiyan. Under the threat of a life-and-death crisis, Lu Yuan started to live the regular life that an adult man should have. In the morning, he would observe the other senior brothers pill refining. In the afternoon, he would refine the elementary cultivation pill by himself. At night, he would cultivate hard. Time flew, and Lu Yuan spent his first month in this world in the Pharmacist Valley. What was worth mentioning was that the Pharmacy Valley's requirement for each apprentice was to provide 90 elementary cultivation pills every month, which meant that they had to at least make 3 pills a day. As long as they could fulfill this basic requirement, the apprentices could freely deal with the extra elementary cultivation pills that they had refined. They could exchange the pills for sect contribution points or use them for themselves. Anything was fine. If they had any connections, they could even sell the extra pills to other disciples in private in exchange for cultivation resources. Lu Yuan, who had the skill interface as well as the luck talent, destined lucky star, could already make 5 elementary cultivation pills a day. Occasionally, when he was lucky, he could even make 6 or 7 pills. Lu Yuan didn't choose to sell these extra pills. Instead, he used them himself. After all, his cultivation with his balanced spiritual roots was already harder than ordinary people. When other people absorbed spiritual energy, 70% to 80% would be allocated to the main spiritual root. But for Lu Yuan, the spiritual energy he absorbed would be evenly distributed among all 5 of his spiritual roots. As such, his cultivation speed was much slower than the others. Fortunately, he now had a large number of elementary cultivation pills to help him, so his cultivation speed was much faster. With the help of the elementary cultivation pill, although the time he spent on cultivation this month was less than 2/3 compared to the previous months, in terms of the effects of his cultivation, this month's cultivation was equivalent to 2 to 3 months of his previous cultivation. If this continued, Lu Yuan felt that he had a high chance of reaching the foundation establishment stage before the next sect assessment. After handing over the elementary cultivation pills that fulfill the requirements for the month, Lu Yuan looked at his gains for the month. Qingyun Technique, Level 3, Qi Cultivation Chapter 353/500, Swordsmanship, Level 2. 100/200, Item Manipulation, Level 4. 59/400, Fire Manipulation, Level 6, .120/600, Pill Refinement Technique, Level 2. 15/200, other than his swordsmanship, which he had not practiced much, the proficiency of all his other skills had made great progress compared to a month ago. At this moment, Lu Yuan was filled with a sense of accomplishment. He had really become stronger. However, just as Lu Yuan was feeling proud of his success and was preparing to have a good night's sleep to welcome a new month of study tomorrow, an alluring figure appeared at the entrance of Pharmacist Valley. It was Lu Yuan's nightmare, senior sister Meng Ruyan. The purpose of her visit was very simple. She was preparing to visit her partner, who had not returned home for a month. She wanted to ask him why he was hiding from her, and who gave him the courage to do so. Chapter 9. Develop in secret, don't be reckless. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Develop in secret, don't be reckless. In the evening, when Meng Ruyan arrived at the entrance of the Pharmacist Valley's hall, she immediately went forward and stopped a disciple who had just come out. Junior brother, may I ask if there's a junior brother named Lu Yuan inside? The Pharmacist Valley disciple, who had just finished refining pills and looked exhausted, raised his head in surprise when he heard an unfamiliar voice. With just one look, he was instantly captivated. What he saw was a beautiful and fair-skinned female cultivator with a veil on her face. Although he couldn't see the female cultivator's full appearance, just her amorous eyes were enough to attract people's hearts. Not to mention that she had a body that most female cultivators would be envious of. When the disciple of the Pharmacist Valley saw this female cultivator, he only had two words in his mind. Devastatingly beautiful. Meng Ruyan looked at the lustful and infatuated disciple of the Pharmacist Valley, and the corners of her mouth lifted slightly. Initially, when Lu Yuan did not come to see her for a month, Meng Ruyan even suspected that she was not charming enough. But now, it seemed that it wasn't her who had a problem, but someone else. The disciple's behavior wasn't bizarre. After all, it was really rare to see a female cultivator in the Pharmacist Valley, and one with such a beautiful appearance and outstanding temperament at that. From a certain point of view, the pharmacists of Pharmacist Valley were similar to the programmers in Lu Yuan's previous life. They were both boring professions with a high technical threshold. Most female cultivators couldn't stand such loneliness. As a result, 9.5 out of 10 disciples in the Pharmacist Valley were male cultivators. The reason why 9.5 was said was that even if there was a sole female cultivator in the Pharmacist Valley, she would generally be the kind who didn't care about her appearance and didn't look like a charming woman at all. In short, the female cultivators of the Pharmacist Valley were like brothers. They could discuss pill refinement techniques, but nothing else. After the initial shock, the disciple of the Pharmacist Valley finally came back to his senses. He quickly steadied himself and said with a slightly red face, "Senior sister, can you repeat what you just said? I didn't hear you clearly just now. May I ask if there is a disciple named Lu Yuan in there?" "Senior sister, please wait a moment. I'll go in and help you ask." "Alright, sorry to trouble you. May I ask how I should address you, junior brother?" Hearing Meng Ruyan's voice, which sounded like a kitten purring, the disciple of the Pharmacist Valley trembled. It was not that the junior brother had never seen a woman before. It was all because the senior sister in front of him was too charming. "You're too polite, senior sister. My name is Lu Qiao. Please wait for a moment, I'll go in and call him for you." Lu Qiao hurriedly returned to the hall and shouted, "Who's junior brother Lu Yuan? Someone's looking for you at the entrance." The loud and clear voice reverberated in the hall. However, before Lu Yuan could respond, the sound of pill furnace explosions rang out in the hall. Boom boom boom. After a series of pill furnace explosions, a few disheveled disciples of the Pharmacist Valley surrounded Lu Qiao. What followed was a series of dull sounds of flesh colliding. What are you shouting for? Don't you know that the pill hall doesn't allow any noise? F*CKU. F*CKU. If you want to find someone, then find him. Why are you shouting? Only then did Lu Qiao, who was beaten up, realize that he had been so mesmerized by the senior sister that he had forgotten that this was not anywhere else. Pill refinement was something that required one's full attention. Any external influence could cause the pill refinement to fail. His shouts just now had caused a few senior brothers to make mistakes in their pill refinement. He was not wrong for suffering this beating. After the senior brothers finished venting their anger, Lu Yuan arrived. He looked at Lu Qiao's swollen face and asked, "Senior brother, I'm Lu Yuan. May I ask who is looking for me?" Before Lu Qiao could reply, Lu Yuan heard a voice that made his heart tremble. "Junior brother Lu, you've made me look for you." It was the demoness Meng Ruyan. Lu Yuan turned his head with difficulty and found Meng Ruyan standing at the entrance of the hall. Damn it, why was this demoness here to look for him? Out of fear of Meng Ruyan, Lu Yuan subconsciously wanted to retreat. However, Meng Ruyan's fair jade-like hand grabbed his arm before he could escape. "Junior brother, where do you want to go?" Lu Yuan looked at the half-smiling Meng Ruyan, and the unbearable memory from a month ago appeared in his mind. He pretended to be calm and replied, "Senior sister, I just remembered that there are still a few pills in the furnace that I haven't dealt with, so I want to go back and deal with them." "Oh, I see. Do you want me to go with you?" "Go together." If they went together, he would be exposed. "It's okay, senior sister. I'll go by myself." As he said this, Lu Yuan tried to break free from Meng Ruyan. However, he was only a mere qi cultivation stage cultivator. How could he compare to Meng Ruyan, a foundation establishment stage cultivator? "Senior sister, can you let go first?" Meng Ruyan smiled but did not say anything. Seeing Meng Ruyan's half-smile, Lu Yuan panicked. It seemed that this demoness would not let him off easily today. Perhaps, she could see Lu Yuan's resistance. Meng Ruyan lowered her head and whispered in Lu Yuan's ear, "Junior brother Lu, if you don't come back with me this time, don't blame me for using some underhanded methods. For example, I can hand you over to a certain senior brother Chen." "Junior brother, you don't want to meet senior brother Chen again, do you?" Lu Yuan raised his head and looked at Meng Ruyan with a dumbfounded expression. Damn it, to think she dared to threaten him. Was he, the great celestial master Lu, the kind of person who could be easily threatened just because someone had something on him? Didn't he have his dignity? "Senior sister, don't say that. To be honest, I was planning to go see you today, but I didn't expect you to come over first. Let's go out and talk." That's right, he could do without his dignity. A man knows when to yield. So what's wrong with temporarily feigning obedience to the demoness? He was not being cowardly. This was just showing a strategic weakness. He would first make the demoness let her guard down, then seize the opportunity to develop quietly before finally finding a chance to turn the tables. For this reason, he would now give in a little. Was there a problem? There was none. Lu Yuan gave up on putting up a fight, throwing the handle after the blade. "Senior sister, let's go back. Wasn't it just another bout of sex? What was the big deal?" Lu Yuan consoled himself in his heart. Although Lu Yuan appeared to be very humble on the surface now, it was still unable to appease Meng Ruyan's anger from having to stay alone in her room for a month. To think he dared to not return for a month. It seemed that she would have to teach this little junior brother of hers a good lesson today. He better not think that he could turn his back on her just because he got the Pharmacist Valley's waste token. Did he think it was that easy to take something that belonged to her? In Meng Ruyan's residence at Qingyun sect, just like before, after being caught by Meng Ruiyan, Lu Yuan was forced to cultivate again. Moreover, it was an enhanced version. This time, Meng Ruiyan had even announced after the cultivation that from then on, Lu Yuan had to come back once a week. If he failed to do so, he would have to bear the consequences. Beggars can't be choosers. Although Lu Yuan wanted to refuse, he was forced by the demoness Meng Ruiyan's threat and could only nod his head in agreement to this unfair treaty. The next day, after Meng Ruiyan had left, Lu Yuan propped up his aching body and looked at his system interface. System notification. Due to the influence of the luck talent, demon heart jade bone, and the cultivation technique, demonic desire ice heart transcript, the host's spiritual root aptitude has been temporarily decreased by 30 points. System notification. Your luck talent, destined lucky star, has been activated. You have seized 75 points of luck from the Foundation Establishment Stage Cultivator, Meng Ruiyan. Accumulated disaster. 3. Current luck value. 195. Lu Yuan had suffered the ravages of the demoness Meng Ruiyan twice in a row and thus received 100 luck points from her with tears in his eyes. His luck value had now reached 170 points. Although this luck value could not be compared to Meng Ruiyan's, it was still not a small amount. Through the comparison of luck value, Lu Yuan discovered that it was not constant. Name. Meng Ruiyan, Cultivation. Foundation Establishment Stage, Level 5, Luck. 1800/2000, logically speaking, Meng Ruiyan's luck should have decreased after he had seized it twice. But in fact, not only had Meng Ruiyan's luck not decreased, but it had increased instead. Lu Yuan speculated that perhaps it was because she was using him as her furnace that her cultivation improvement had accelerated, which allowed her to obtain more resources, and her luck value to naturally increase as a result. In a sense, neither of them was losing out. Both of them were benefiting from each other. If the situation continued to develop in this manner, Lu Yuan could even consider accepting the demoness. Unfortunately, the situation would definitely not remain calm forever. He was afraid that this demoness would tear off her disguise one day and directly suck him dry. To avoid the arrival of that day, Lu Yuan felt that he had to speed up his plan. His plan was simple. It was to become a direct disciple of the Pharmacist Valley as soon as possible. From the looks of it, it was unrealistic for him to reach the Foundation Establishment Stage in a short time. If he couldn't reach the Foundation Establishment Stage, Lu Yuan wouldn't have any excuse or ability to escape from Meng Ruiyan. However, the appearance of Elder Han Yuanshan gave Lu Yuan a new choice. That was to become the personal disciple of Pharmacist Valley's Elder Han by refining a Foundation Establishment Stage pill. Although it was difficult to refine Foundation Establishment Stage pills with merely Qi Cultivation Stage cultivation, it was not impossible. In addition, Lu Yuan had the system, so he still had a chance. Thinking of this, Lu Yuan looked at his skills interface. Qingyun Technique, Level 5, Qi Cultivation Chapter. 353/500, Swordsmanship, Level 2. 100/200, Item Manipulation, Level 4. 59/400, Fire Manipulation, Level 6, .120/600, Pill Refinement Technique, Level 2. 15/200, generally speaking, if one wanted to refine a Foundation Establishment Stage pill, one must have the ability to control the Foundation Establishment Stage flame. This was because only a Foundation Establishment Stage flame could refine Foundation Establishment Stage medicinal herbs. However, if one didn't have a Foundation Establishment Stage cultivation, there were other methods to refine Foundation Establishment Stage medicinal herbs. This method was to cultivate the Heavenly Flame Divine Ability. The so-called Heavenly Flames were divine ability flames with special abilities. In the Qingyun sect, there were many cultivation methods for the Heavenly Flame Divine Ability. Lu Yuan's target was one of the special divine abilities called the Green Flame Technique. As long as he could master this divine ability, even if he didn't have a foundation establishment stage cultivation, he could still refine foundation establishment stage medicinal herbs and achieve the goal of refining a foundation establishment stage pill. Thus, Lu Yuan's current plan was to learn the green flame technique and refine a foundation establishment stage pill. Before he could do that, he had to continue hiding his development to avoid raising the suspicion of demoness Meng Rian. He had to fight for precious time for his development. He had to develop in secret and not be reckless. Chapter 10. Green Flame Pill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He would first learn the heavenly flame divine ability, the green flame technique, then master the method of refining foundation establishment stage pills. After that, with his outstanding talent in pill refinement, he would become the core formation stage elder's direct disciple and thus escape from demoness Meng Rian's control. One word, perfect. At this moment, Lu Yuan felt that his plan was great. If he was not in a celestial world but in the world of Cthulhu, where intelligence and mystery were valued, he felt that he would definitely be the best there. With his smart brain, he could probably do whatever he wanted in the world of Cthulhu. That being said, a plan was still just a plan. No matter how perfect the plan was, it had to be implemented. A plan that couldn't be realized was just a castle in the air. The first problem that Lu Yuan faced was how to obtain the cultivation method of the green flame technique. According to the memories of the body's original owner, other than a few elementary divine abilities, the rest of the divine abilities in the Qingyun sect required at least 1,000 sect contribution points in exchange. One could tell from the heavenly flame divine ability of the green flame technique that it was extraordinary. If one wanted to get this divine ability, one would need a total of 5,000 contribution points. Fortunately, the Qingyun sect provided good welfare. After every disciple broke through to the next stage, they could choose a divine ability of their current stage for free to cultivate. Even a disciple in the Qi cultivation stage could also choose a divine ability for free to cultivate. The same logic applied to those in the foundation establishment stage, core formation stage, and nascent soul stage. Of course, if one could be accepted as a direct disciple by a core formation stage elder, other than the unique techniques of the sect, the elders also had the right to teach one any divine abilities and cultivation techniques. However, the number of people who could become direct disciples was always in the minority. Therefore, most of the Qingyun sect's disciples still needed to rely on such free sect welfare to improve their strength in the early stages. Like most of the Qi cultivation stage disciples, the original owner of Lu Yuan's current body did not claim this welfare for the time being. This was because, in the Qi cultivation stage, the most important thing for the disciples was to cultivate their cultivation techniques and focus on polishing their foundations. Not only would the effect of cultivating divine abilities at this time average, but it was also impossible to see any results in the short term. This was similar to the relationship between inner force and moves in martial arts. Without sufficient cultivation, no matter how proficient one's divine ability was, it was useless if it could not be used. Not to mention, the cultivation of many divine abilities required certain cultivation. Hence, Lu Yuan now had a free chance to choose a divine ability. He was planning to use this opportunity on obtaining the heavenly flame divine ability of the green flame technique. As for the item manipulation and fire manipulation that he currently knew, they were both just weak divine abilities that were standard and common. These two divine abilities could simply be exchanged for free in Qingyun sect. Lu Yuan knew that he had another chance to get a free divine ability, which was why he came up with this plan. He was a man of action, and the threat of demoness Meng Rian was like the sword of Damocles hanging above him. As such, after waiting until the debuff of the lowered spiritual root aptitude was over, Lu Yuan went to the scripture pavilion of the Qingyun sect and got his hands on the heavenly flame divine ability of the green flame technique. Divine ability. Green flame technique, cultivation requirements. Fire and wood spiritual roots, each above 30 points, green flame pill X1, cultivation method. Draw the green flame into your body and condense the green flame origin. After Lu Yuan finished reading the description of the green flame technique, he finally understood why the disciples of the Qingyun sect rarely cultivated this divine ability. It turned out that the cultivation requirements of this divine ability were so harsh. One of the prerequisites for the divine ability's cultivation was to have both the fire and wood spiritual roots, and each had to have an aptitude of 30 points and above. Even for some geniuses, this was not an easy condition to fulfill. There were geniuses with fire spiritual roots and wood spiritual roots in the Qingyun sect, but all of them were talents with a single spiritual root aptitude above 80 points. With such a distribution of spiritual root aptitude, it was undoubtedly difficult for them to meet the conditions to cultivate the green flame technique. It was at moments like this that the advantage of Lu Yuan's well-balancedness was revealed. It was true that someone as well-balanced as him couldn't compare to those geniuses in terms of cultivation speed, but the best thing about being well-balanced was that he knew a little about everything. All 5 of Lu Yuan's spiritual roots had an average of 30 points. They completely met the requirements to practice the green flame technique. However, in addition to the spiritual root requirement, the green flame technique had an even more stringent requirement, which was the requirement of a green flame pill. The refining method of the green flame pill was written in the cultivation method of the green flame technique. It could even be said that this was the cultivation method of the green flame technique. It was divided into 2 parts. First, refine the green flame pill. Second, swallow the green flame pill and guide the green flame into the body to condense the green flame origin. The green flame pill was a foundation establishment stage pill and only foundation establishment stage cultivators could refine it. Lu Yuan obviously could not do it. Fortunately, there were many seniors in the history of the Qingyun sect who had practiced the green flame technique. Therefore, there were many green flame pills in the sect's treasure pavilion, which could be bought with spiritual stones. However, obtaining the green flame pill wasn't the end. The steps that followed, which were to condense the green flame origin, were also difficult. The process of condensing the green flame origin was like swallowing a ball of fire into the body and then constantly compressing it. Any mistake in the operation and one might explode and die, burning in fire. It was very dangerous. After Lu Yuan understood this, his expression turned somewhat unsightly. Damn! So cultivating this divine ability was so dangerous. To think he might die on the spot while cultivating it. But now, it seemed like there was no turning back. The plan was set, and he had already used up his chance of getting a free divine ability to get the green flame technique. If he were to give up now, wouldn't everything be in vain? Besides, he was a heaven's chosen who had a system. As long as he used his luck talent to continuously adjust his luck, couldn't he minimize the danger of practicing the green flame technique? The more he thought about it, the more Lu Yuan felt that cultivating the green flame technique was not as dangerous as he had imagined. Although it was said that danger and opportunities come hand in hand, as long as one's luck was good to a certain extent, opportunities could also come safely. Lu Yuan, who had adjusted his state of mind, immediately left the scripture pavilion and went to the sect's treasure pavilion. He planned to go there in exchange for a green flame pill. Qingyun sect, treasure pavilion. Senior brother, how many spiritual stones for 1 green flame pill? 10 low-grade spiritual stones or 1 mid-grade spiritual stone for 1 green flame pill. So expensive. The senior brother sitting at the counter said displeasedly, Junior brother, even though not many people use the green flame pill, it's still a foundation establishment stage pill. 10 low-grade spiritual stones for 1 is already a discounted price offered by the sect. Lu Yuan shook his storage bag. Currently, he only had 2 mid-grade spiritual stones. One of them was what he had saved up with great difficulty over the past 10 years. The other mid-grade spiritual stone was given to him by Meng Ruyan. In the name of pocket money. Meng Ruyan had even joked that if Lu Yuan performed well in the future, she could consider giving him a mid-grade spiritual stone every month. To this, Lu Yuan felt that this demoness was really too evil. To think she knew to test him, Celestial Master Lu, with the source of all evil, money. Which Celestial Master could withstand such a test? He had to admit that although Demoness Meng Rian was a dangerous woman, she was very generous when giving him spiritual stones. In the end, Lu Yuan still gritted his teeth and bought a green flame pill. He had to spend on what was necessary. He would earn money at night and spend it during the day. At most, he would just please that demoness in the future. After getting what he wanted, Lu Yuan walked toward the Pharmacist Valley. Although he wanted to start practicing the green flame technique immediately, he did not forget his daily pill refinement task. Although it was a task, not only did the process of refining the elementary cultivation pill improve his skill proficiency and cultivation, but the pills he refined could also increase his cultivation efficiency. It was only a given that Lu Yuan would not give up on such a rewarding task. As for the cultivation of the green flame technique, he could do it at night. After all, that demoness only asked him to go to her room once a week, not every day. A mature man should know how to resist the temptation of going home. This was the time management ability of a mature man.